Hello everybody, we've just finished a lovely three-part series on the philosophy of creativity, what creativity is, how you can be creative, and the link between creativity and anxiety. So let's have a look at some of your lovely comments and questions. Trista Gaiopsi said that creativity is what is different. You might want to be slightly careful there, because just a stream of random nonsense would certainly be different, but we might not necessarily say that that was creative. And similarly, like I said in part one of the series, a perfect copy of the Mona Lisa would technically be different in the sense that it's not identical with the original, but it would actually not be creative, it would be the opposite, derivative. So yes, we need to be careful there. Mortality Rate wondered whether people with mental health problems might pursue creative careers because of the therapeutic effect being creative can have. And yeah, like maybe. I mean, I know from my own experience at drama school that it can be very therapeutic, although it is no substitute for actual therapy. I think I would need to see the statistics on that though. I would be interested to see the data there, but it's an interesting thought. Aquavallo said that creative pursuits can make us feel tormented or uncomfortable because they can sometimes involve a certain amount of self-confrontation, or at least self-reflection. And yeah, again, that's something I know from my own experience at drama school. A lot of people in my year, myself included, have learned things about themselves and learned things about other human beings over the course of becoming creative artists, and that process isn't always a barrel of laughs. So yeah, maybe you're onto something there. That's interesting. Nikanuso Innocent Kwane said that when you're a creative artist, we never stop learning. There's always something else we can learn that can make our art better. There's not like a definitive endpoint where we can feel, yes, we are secure, we have arrived, we're established artists now. And also because art is subjective, there's never any point where we can say, oh yes, we're definitely top of our field. There's always somebody who we might compare ourselves to. And maybe they said this is why being creative can often be linked to anxiety or sadness. And yeah, maybe you're onto something there. Like, again, this is something I know a lot from working in the acting industry and from being an actor, is there's always someone else who you compare yourself to, and I'm never going to be done, which is actually something I really enjoy. And also the industry itself, like we were talking about the background conditions of producing art, the industry itself for all kinds of creative artists is often so unstable that maybe that's a sort of a good source of anxiety as well. So yeah, I think it's a good thought. Sam Asiello appreciated the joke I made about PBS Idea Channel. To be clear, I love PBS Idea Channel. I love them. Like, Mike is a friend of mine. I love the stuff that they produce. And that joke was kind of a joke on me as well, since I've actually co-written some other episodes. So, Hello World noted that some psychology was coming into the discussion as well as some philosophy as well. And yeah, that's actually one of the really interesting things about the philosophy of creativity, is that it more than a lot of the other areas of philosophy that I've studied, it definitely draws on the science and takes the science and the evidence from psychology and says, okay, what can we do with this? How does this affect what we're talking about? That's one of the things I really love about it, actually. It's definitely got one foot in the scientific world and has its finger on the pulse of the psychology and the experimental psychology too. So yeah, you're absolutely right. But that's, I think, a really good thing, because when, learning is a cooperative thing and we can bring lots of different disciplines in together and figure out what we can learn from each other. I don't think that philosophy should be like a very isolated ivory tower thing that's just pure logic and philosophy. We can bring in other stuff as well, and I think that's great. Morpheus X asked, what's my Myers-Briggs personality type? I don't know, actually. I took the test once a long time ago, and then I've forgotten the results since. I almost don't want to know. I have friends who've had to take the Myers-Briggs tests to apply for jobs, so that their managers can know how better to manage them, and there's just something like almost slightly sinister about that, so no, I don't think I want to know. Bharath Kumar asked, how can we distinguish imagination from action schema? If you remember from part one, action schema were signals generated by the brain to anticipate sensory input, and we said that they had a central role in creativity. That's a very interesting question, and the relationship between imagination and creativity is a hot button issue in the philosophy of creativity. I would say, and these are just kind of thoughts off the top of my head, that imagination is under voluntary control. You can like deliberately use it, whereas action schema are not always. Sometimes they're generated or automatically when you're about to perform some action, and sometimes you can willfully generate them yourself, maybe by using your imagination. So I would say there seems to be some kind of a link there, but I wouldn't say they were identical. Beres Gort, one of the philosophers of creativity we talked about, who taught me, and actually basically invented the field, he says that imagination is not the same thing as creativity, but imagination as a brain process is very well suited to bringing creativity out. Lemuel7 asked, how much experience do I have playing the saxophone? I think I had lessons for like 5 or 7 years or something when I was in high school. I don't have it with me, sadly, in London, or I would show you, but no, I had lessons as a kid, and my teacher and I, we didn't always get on, and she actually ended up throwing me out in the end. Mike Hermida said that for something to be creative, it doesn't necessarily have to be completely new, just new to the creator. And yeah, I absolutely agree with you there, and that's a distinction I would have liked to go into if I had more time. Newness is probably just as much in context as value if we're talking about things being new and valuable. So the example that was taught to me was if some isolated tribesperson creates a perfect replica of Michelangelo's David, having never even heard of the original or made contact with anyone else, then that's still creative because it's new to them. So yeah, I would absolutely agree with you on that. Joshua Bruton says that my French pronunciation needs work. Does it though? Because last time I spoke French in a video, everyone, well not everyone, but a lot of people loved it, so I really don't know what my standard of French is. I have a friend who lived in France for several years who says that my French accent is very specifically the accent of an English soldier trying to chat up a French country maid. That's you, mate. Yeah, you're in the show. Whilst we're talking about your amazing contributions to the show, I need to thank my top patrons for the last month for helping me feed myself and pay rent and keep the lights on. So massive thank you to Disciple of Kierkegaard, Lydia and Nate Thorne, Peter Wells, Michael Hill, Tink Hedon Donwy, Thomas Z, Nick Turner, Philip Wielgus, No Cantu, Alex Goldhill, David, The Benevolent Malevolence, Jodie Dawkins, Christopher Meyer, Abdullah Al-Tawaidri, John Bell, Ben Simon, Michael Zafaropoulos, Ariel, Alex Boer, Scott, Emiliano Haynes, and Jeffrey Peckham. Thank you so much for essentially keeping me alive. Those are all the comments I've got time to go through this week. Next week, I have not decided yet what the schedule will be. I've got a whole bunch of episodes. Maybe it'll be something on Foucault, maybe it'll be something about crime, maybe it'll be a reading recommendation video. It'll probably be that, actually, looking at the schedule, but I don't know. It'll be a surprise. It's a surprise to me. So I will see you next week. Thank you very much for watching. Bye! Thank you.